Welcome everybody to a brand new video. Today's video is going to be kind of brief because I just want to talk about something that has been on my mind. It's kind of been involved in my life recently, and that is a book that I recently read. And in terms of recent, I mean like a few months ago I read it, and then I recently reread the book, and then I studied this one chapter over and over again. I'm gonna get into that later. And I just want to point out that when I say read the book, I mean listened to it, because I just listen to audiobooks on Audible. No, this video isn't sponsored, although I would love to be sponsored by Audible. But anyway, I wanted to bring to your attention a book that I listened to, and in my opinion, it is probably the best book I've listened to. If it's not the best, then it's definitely one of the best books I've ever listened to. And that is this book right here, No Money Down Property Investing by Kevin McDonald. Kevin McDonald is actually Irish. I am not too sure if he lives in Ireland at the moment or if he lives in the UK. According to what he says in the book, he seems to move back and forth a few times. But regardless, the book is about how to invest in real estate with no money. And real estate is something that I always wanted to get into because of the potential to make a large sum of money. It seems like a lot of people who are millionaires or billionaires, they tend to have some sort of link to real estate, because real estate has historically shown to be one of the best ways to make money. But the only problem with real estate is that I don't have money to just go and buy a house, let alone enough houses to retire and quit my job and not have to worry about how I'm going to make money anymore. So I sort of like half gave up on the idea of real estate. I told myself that I was going to invest in the stock market until I got to the point where I was making enough money to invest in real estate. But that is until I saw this book in my recommendations on Audible. And this isn't a book that I had seen any reviews for. I hadn't heard any YouTubers talking about it, because a lot of the previous books that I had listened to were recommendations from YouTubers such as Minority Mindset, a YouTube channel based on financial literacy and building your own portfolio, whether that be the stock market, real estate, starting your own business, entrepreneurship, etc. He had recommended a bunch of different books that I had read. The first book in terms of like financials I had ever read was The Intelligent Investor, and then I decided to look into the entrepreneur type of books that Minority Mindset recommended. Some notable ones that come to mind, some of the better ones that I've heard are Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those are some fantastic books, and if you haven't listened to them, if you're not the type of person who likes to read, I definitely recommend them. But anyway, No Money Down Property Investing by Kevin McDonald. This is a book that I had never heard about, but I saw it in my recommendations, and I thought, fuck it, let's give it a shot. I'm going to spend my Audible credit to pick up the book, and lo and behold, this is probably the best book I have ever listened to. The tools being taught in this book are absolutely amazing. If you read the first 3 chapters and study those chapters, you can get out of your job. I'm gonna try and resist the urge from lecturing too much in this video, because if you want to know more information, I am not the person who you should go to if you want someone to teach you these things, but I'm going to go over a few things that I learned. The first chapter is an introduction to the book. The second chapter is what area you should invest in, and I'm not going to give it away. If you want to know what the best area to invest in real estate is, definitely pick up this book. He's not paying me to say this, by the way. I have no links to Kevin whatsoever, besides the fact that I sent him an email or two because I'm looking into taking one of his courses. And the third chapter, this is where the real gold mine is. It's called Rent to Rent. This is basically the starting point if you want to get into real estate. The problem with most people is that they don't have enough money to buy enough real estate, rent it out to enough people to make the money to retire and live off of that passive income that you're going to receive. So how do you solve this? Well, the third chapter basically talks about it. He brings up the fact that 99% of people aren't going to have enough money, so you need to find a way to get into real estate with no money or very little money. And the strategy he presents in this chapter is just amazing. I mean, it really makes sense when you hear it and you're like, fuck, why didn't I think about this? Well, it's basically a case of you don't know what you don't know. The strategy that he brings to fruition in this chapter is a strategy called rent to rent. And when you're talking to a landlord, someone who owns a property, you never call it rent to rent. You call it corporate letting. As I said, I'm not going to lecture you too much on exactly what this chapter says, but what he does say is that this is the entry point. This is how you get into real estate with no money or very, very little money. I'm talking about like less than a few €1,000. If you have good budgeting, you can save up that amount of money to get into real estate. Or if you have good negotiating, then you could drastically lower that amount of money that you need to pay to get into a deal. You could even mitigate all of the costs when it comes to starting out. In fact, this strategy is so powerful that he says that if you follow them, if you follow the strategies that he presents in that chapter, it can get you out of your job in 6 months. When I first heard that, that really caught my ear, because one thing that I am sort of noticing right now is that with more time that goes on, the more I have less patience with my job. I'm not going to sit here and say that I absolutely despise my job and that it's like a living hell. It's not like that. However, I am sensing that give it another year or two, I am going to get fed up and I'm not going to want to work anymore, because it's like I'm getting paid pennies for the amount of work that I do. I'm not going to say how much I make or whatever or where I work, because, I don't want to get into any legal troubles. But basically, in my personal opinion, I don't make enough money for the amount of effort that I put in at my job, and I'm sure that a lot of people can empathize with that. Most people feel like they're earning way less than what they're worth. Money problems are one of the worst problems you can have. I think I'm pretty good at budgeting. I do have quite a nice sum of money to my name, considering that I'm 19 years old. However, I don't ever want to get into money issues. I don't ever want to get into debt. I don't want to have to take out a mortgage to buy a house in the future. What I do want to do is find a way to create passive income, something that will pay me every single month or every single year, whatever, for just owning it or controlling it. And that is what this book talks about. The strategy is called rent to rent. And you find a landlord or someone who owns a property who is kind of struggling with renting out that property. Maybe they can't find the tenants, or maybe they simply don't want to rent it out because they see it as too much hassle. They see it as a second job, and that's not what a lot of people are looking for. And another thing that he tries to stress in this chapter is that it's not about getting you a second job. It's about getting you out of your current job so that you can live life on your terms and do whatever you want. That is what I'm chasing. I've mentioned this in previous videos that I personally chase freedom. I want to one day in the future have a system that makes me money that I don't really have to pay attention to all that much, or I definitely don't have to put as much effort into as like my current job, and I can still make a lot of money, be very comfortable, and then live life on my terms. If I want to go on a holiday, I can do that any point I want to. If I want to sit in, be a lazy fucking play video games all day and stream it to you guys, I would love to do that. The only problem is I can't do that at the moment because I have this fucking job that is like a shackle around my ankles. I am so limited with my time. I would love to stream for you guys full time, but I can't fucking do that because I have a full-time job. I have a relationship. I have to make YouTube videos for you guys. It's just too much to handle. Also, and I go to gym every 2 days. I simply don't have the time to stream to you guys. And so that's when I started chasing my goal of freedom, financial freedom. The idea that I don't have to go to a job that I don't like. I can just keep getting paid for some system that I made work. But anyway, back onto the rent-to-rent strategy. You find a landlord or a property owner who is not renting out their property. You offer them an opportunity to receive rent every single month, a baseline amount of rent that they are going to receive, guaranteed out of your pocket, or later I'm going to discuss out of other people's pockets. You set a certain amount of rent for the landlord. It's a guaranteed rent that they're going to receive whether or not the property is being rented out or not. You make it very clear what the property is used for. The idea is that you take control of the property. You take control of the operations and the maintenance costs that come with taking control of a property. So basically, the landlord doesn't have to do anything, and they have a guaranteed stream of income that they receive every single month for not doing anything because you're taking control of the property. And the idea is you take that property, maybe you need to renovate it a little bit, maybe you need to invest a tiny bit of money, or you can negotiate with the landlord, seeing as it is their property, that they pay for the renovation. That is something that you can negotiate with them. You take this property, you renovate it, and you find tenants, and then you rent out the property to the tenants for a higher rent that is going to cover some of the maintenance costs, some of the operational costs. Maybe you're going to hire a letting agent to take care of the property for you so that you don't have to do anything anymore, and then you just see the money come in. Make sure the rent covers all of these costs, also covers the cost of the rent to the landlord themselves. And the idea is that you control the property. You take the amount of money that you owe to the landlord and all your other costs, you subtract that from the rent that the tenant is going to pay you, and that's your profit. That's the amount of money that you're going to be putting in your pocket every single month. And you might be thinking that this kind of sounds like you're creating a second job for yourself. That's why I brought up the idea that you can get a letting agent. You can find someone who is going to maybe be on a commission basis, not even hired full-time or part-time. You just pay them through commissions. They manage the property for you. You can find property managers. They're going to take care of all these problems, all the maintenance costs and all that stuff. You can use the profit from one property to pay them to do that for all of your properties, and then there you go. You don't have to put the effort in yourself. You have all the systems in place that you can chill back, and you can have that steady flow of rent come into your pocket every single month, and you don't have to put that much work in. Say, for example, if I earn €500 profit per property, just 3 of those deals will be enough for me to quit my job and to cover all of my rent, my personal expenses. Just 3. That's all I need. All I have to do is put enough deals out there, talk to enough landlords, get this thing going, and I could quit my job. And can I do that in 6 months? I don't want to be too cocky, but I feel like I could do it in less. I am so motivated right now. Chapter 3 of that book, I have been listening to it on repeat over and over again so I can just embed it into my mind how this strategy works, because it's fucking fantastic. Some of you guys might argue the point of, isn't that subletting? It is not subletting. It is a fully legal tactic. You do have to check some of the regulations in your area and stuff like that. But basically, he explains it in that chapter why it's not subletting, why it's completely legal. I'm not going to bore you guys with the details here, but just trust me, this is legal, and you just have to read the book for yourself if you really want to understand what I'm talking about. So that leaves me in the last leg of this video. What am I trying to get at? This is basically my plan. This is what I'm going to be focusing on primarily in my spare time. And of course, I'm still going to do YouTube and stuff like that. I'm still going to keep in touch with you guys. But right now, my priority is getting the fuck out of my job. I do not enjoy it that much, and I need to free myself. Could you imagine not having to go to a job every single day, having the free time to do whatever you're passionate about and not have to worry about money? I'm telling you, man, like I'm just picturing it right now. I'm so hungry for this success. In 6 months, I can quit my job. Imagine another 6 months. I could double my income. Oh my God, like I am just like freaking out that this is possible, and I need to do this. Like, I need to free myself from my job. I need to find a way to create income without having to work at a job that is basically enslaving me. And I'm going to do it. I'm so motivated. I'm already in contact with the author of this book to take a course. And I don't give a fuck what the course costs. If it costs $2,000, I'm taking it, because the potential to make so much profit is innumerable. Like, it's so crazy. Let's say best case scenario, 6 months from now, I have freed myself from this job. What does that mean for my life? Well, first of all, I can go gym every single day, because right now the way my timetable works is I upload one day and I go to gym the second day. I would have more free time to spend with Ayeshi. I would have more free time to talk to some of my friends that I never get a chance to talk to anymore because I have a job, they have a job, I have so many things to manage. But then I would actually have the time to talk to them. It would give me more freedom to do whatever I want. If I really wanted to, I could go back to uploading daily because I would have the time. I could stream full time for you guys. Like, I'm talking 8-hour-a-day streams. I would have the freedom to do whatever I want. And on top of that, money wouldn't be an issue because I could scale it and decide to put out more deals and gain control over more properties and bring in even more income. Like, money will not be an issue if this happens. This is really what I'm focusing on right now. This is my primary strategy that I want to take. I'm going to be focusing a lot on this in the next 6 months, and I hope that I can come back to you at the end of those 6 months and make a video titled I quit my job. Like, I'm just envisioning right now, like I'm going fucking crazy, but like I need this. Like, I have to do this. It's something that I think about all the time. I mean, I'm making videos. I'm thinking about that freedom. I'm thinking about making those property deals. I'm thinking about that chapter. When I'm going to sleep, I'm thinking about it. When I'm eating, I'm thinking about it. When I'm at work, I'm constantly thinking about it because I just don't like being there. This shit is constantly on my mind, and I'm always thinking about how the fuck am I gonna do this? And eventually I'm gonna take action. Really soon, I'm gonna start visiting landlords outside of my city, trying to practice, get some experience in, putting out those deals, and then I'm gonna start investing in my area, and I'm gonna make this work. I fucking know it. Like, I have no choice. I have to make this work, man. I need to free myself from my job. But anyway, I'm like rambling at this point. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to free yourself from your job, I definitely recommend picking that book up, either a physical copy or through Audible. Just do it, because you're gonna learn tactics in that book that you would have never knew existed. But anyway, I'm gonna cut this video off here because I feel like I've talked enough about this. So yeah. That's pretty much it. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you smack the like button. If you want to stay up to date on my content, please be sure to subscribe. I'll have my last video in the corner. If you haven't checked that out already, definitely make sure to check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.